we come down the Ullman Straight. Yes, he is much closer.
Very, very close behind, under 0.2 of a second. That's going to come down to under 1/10 of a second if he decides to go for the move. He's going to think about it. A little bit of a Pruitt fade there from Krasowski as they go down into sunset.
Doesn't completely cover it off, though, and Fujita is through. He is our new leader coming off the final turn, but I don't know that he can hold it because Krasowski gets a great launch off the corner. He goes off to the right-hand side as Kazuki once again defends behind them. Olivier giving watch, and he's going to take advantage of it. He's going to try and poke his nose through to take second place off the hands of Daniel. It's not done yet. It carries on down into 3.
It keeps going here. Olivier trying to be later on the binders, and he's going to shut the door. That is Dominic Olivier up into P2. Krasowski demoted in 3 corners, 2 positions. Abner Acosta worked in on the high lane there on Josh Daniels to see if he's got anything. They're going to come out of the corner. Noah's Ark here, 2x2, and a big checkup. But here comes Josh Daniels thinking about making this 3 wide.
3 wide, and he absolutely sends it in deep. O'Brien tries to as well, but it's the high line that counts for the 28. No, it doesn't. It bites him. He falls backwards. Now the 77 back forward. And look at this. We didn't even account for Acosta. Acosta stuck through all of them, and he is going to manage to get up to 3rd potentially here. Sending it deep into 1. He's got it. Coming down into Sunset Bend, he's going to have to go around the outside. Pavolano, we've seen his defense before. He knows how to do this, but can he do it against Kwok? No, maybe not, because Kwok carries speed and just finds a gap around the outside. That'll give him the inside coming into turn 1. The job isn't completely done. He could maybe see an over-under from Michael as he takes it wide into the first turn.
Yeah, I think you're right. Looking as we set up, trying to come through here, we're on board with Raymond Day, looking around, trying to find a way to get through these guys, taking a look as they both defend deep onto the inside, holding enough ground to not make contact from the power down, and just making it around number 87, Peter Newhook. Oh, little contact there too. Little contact.
Little bit of contact, a little bit of off track there for Raymond Day, but he's able to keep everything gathered up back under him. But he's going to be a little bit compromised here as he tries to get by Peter Newhook going down into Verth. They are really trying to hold on to this here, working their way, and they're still side by side.
Oh, Raymond Day doing the best he can in a disadvantaged line, trying to come down into here. Look at that, just getting his nose ahead, holding on to that position on the outside.
Here comes Andy.
Seems to like that exit of that corner. The car handles it well. Aggressive defensive move from Gernot Frisha, almost pushing him off into the grass, but he's given just enough space, and a lot of wheel spin there from Frisha. Unfortunately, that puts him slow out of the horseshoe, side by side, coming up in a NASCAR bend. Mikko Lino trying to do it the hard way around, and he's got it.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do send all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
This season is turning into a dramatic one, with much of the field having to visit the panel beaters after a caution-heavy race at New Hampshire. Well, now we go from New England to the Midwest to see who can keep their nose clean. Tonight, the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series races at Chicagoland Speedway, Round 5 of 2022 Season 1, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Reese Gardner, and with me in the booth is Chris Phoebe. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. It's an interesting track at Chicagoland, 1.5 miles like many others, but its curved back stretch makes it an oddity. Let's check out the track guide to learn more about it.
Welcome to Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Born out of the track boom of the 90s and early 2000s. Beginning racing in July 2001, not much has changed around Chicagoland, with the exception of lights being added in 2008. She still has the original surface around this 1.5-mile oval, making the track surface harsh from those Midwest winters. That means you really have to manage the tire wear over the course of a race. Chicagoland stands out from the other tracks created around its time period. Yes, it is 1.5 miles and D-shaped, but the shape of the track means it's never truly straight. When you come off the 18-degree bank turns 1 and 2 and onto the backstretch, the first thing you're going to notice is that it's curved. And when you roll into turn 3 and come off turn 4, it feels like you almost immediately dive into the tri-oval. It's an interesting drive for sure. And that interesting drive has produced some incredible races over the years, especially in IndyCar. The old Dallara IndyCar 0305 that you can find on iRacing was a particularly racing machine here, with 3 of the top 5 closest IndyCar finishes, including the closest, coming right here at Chicagoland. NASCAR has been here from the start though, with all 3 National Series making at least 1 trip a year here, and the Grand National cars making 2. ARCA has also been here from the beginning. A series that you may not associate with Chicagoland, USAC Silver Crown. Yes, the ones you can find here on iRacing made stops here in the mid-2000s. So with that, let's get ready to turn loose in the Windy City.
Well, Chris, quite the interesting circuit here at Chicagoland Speedway. No progressive banking here either, which is going to make it an extra challenge for our stock car drivers.
That's right. The evolution of the 1.5 mile tracks over the last couple decades kind of made Chicagoland an oddity to not have the progressive banking. But as you can see on the graphic there, this track has no true straightaway. You are constantly in some form of a turn as you go around this track, and that much steering input can definitely throw these drivers for a loop, especially once we get deeper into this race and tire wear becomes a factor, because constant steering input is grading away on those tires a little bit. It is also an aged surface here at Chicagoland, having put up with some of those Midwestern winters. So look for the tire game to be a big deal here today, and these drivers are going to be carrying a lot of speed into turns 1 and 3, and that's going to create some passing opportunities on corner exit.
That it will. Really looking forward to the racing action tonight. But before we do that, we'll take a quick moment to thank our series sponsors. Our broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced SimRacing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
And of course, we have an extra sponsor here at Global Sim Racing Channel. Make sure to check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more at majorsgarage.com, or use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. We have a link in the description below that directly applies our special offer. In terms of the championship driver points, well, it's Bradley Holly who still leads the way. And of course, Thomas Sink doing quite well up towards the top as well, only 15 points behind his nearest rival, Danny Cervantes, with an excellent run last week at New Hampshire. Only 26 points behind. Abner Acosta still there in 5th, and he's going to have to try and get some of his momentum back.
That's right. It's really hotly contested there from 3rd on back, but Abner definitely has some work to do if he wants to get back on his game and back into the championship hunt.
And in team points, it's the same story as always. Both waterback teams dominating the top of the standings, quite a way ahead of the loud pedal. Car Ramrod is just within that window for getting into within 100 points, so we'll have to see what happens there.
That's right. It's even beginning to be a bit of a split between Overdrive Racing and Back Row Racing, the two Whataback squads there. So definitely the team championship, a little bit more spread out than what we have for the drivers, but still some places that are up for grabs. And with the top teams that we have in this series still in contention there, we could see that shake out to be a pretty close championship here in the next round or two.
Absolutely. And finally, very quickly, we'll go through the race details for tonight. We're racing for 85 laps, round 6 of 10, 2022 Season 1, 4 total tyre sets. So as Chris mentioned, tyres are going to be a big thing here at Chicagoland. Going to have to be careful about when you put that fresh rubber on. No spare trucks. So if there's a big crash, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the pits. And of course, all drivers driving the same settings. Well, you might be seeing in the background, there's something going on the back stretch. We're gearing up for something quite special here. We mentioned Thomas Sink, 2nd place in the standings and having a very good run of results. And unfortunately, it's quite sad. His father, Thomas Gene Sink, passing away on January the 11th. This round of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series has become the Thomas Gene Sink Memorial. The drivers are gearing up for a 3-wide salute to Thomas Sink's father. And certainly Thomas Sink will be massively appreciative of this. Pulling away now, a moment of silence and a 3-wide salute to Thomas Gene Sink. beautiful gesture there by the drivers of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series, and the donuts begin on the front stretch, bringing up a whole load of smoke in memory of Thomas Gene Sink, and you would have seen truck number 48 of Thomas Sink leading the way in that 3-wide salute. Really awesome to see, Chris.
That's right. It's definitely tough to lose a parent at any age, and with Thomas still being out here racing with us, we definitely send our thoughts and prayers out to him and his family at this time, and definitely going to make him the sentimental favorite to win today.
Well, considering that he has gotten into the top 5 in the practice session, I'd say he is well within a shot of doing just that. We do have a minute or so left until we go into qualifying. Actually, we'll be going into it right now. I slightly misread the time left on the ticker. But now we will get into the racing action here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Thomas Gene Sink Memorial. And we're going into nighttime conditions for qualifying, a big change of track temperature. So those practice times might not be the best judge of who is going to be where. Going to be quite interesting to see who sticks it on pole for this race. Bradley Holly has been the one of the dominant runners in qualifying so far this season, so I think he's well within a shot here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, but that transition from day to night is a big deal. The track cools down a lot; it gets a lot faster.
My apologies. I think I've misinterpreted the B-roll here on GSRC. We are using nighttime for B-roll, but the drivers are still racing in daytime conditions. My sincere apologies for that. So we can cancel the last 30 seconds of discussion, I think, Chris. The drivers are currently out in the qualifying session, and Ryan Goodall, one of the drivers, leading the charge. We got plenty of them out there on track at the moment going to set their qualifying times. And in terms of times, we're looking for high 30s for the quickest of our drivers out here. So we shall have to wait and see.
Yeah, time's clicking in now. Colton Lane, Doyle Lawrence, and Adam Young getting times in right now. Lane, the quickest of all, with 1:14. And you see Dalton Geyer joining the gang. He now will click in third quick, and Clayton Montgomery up to second now as those outlaps are beginning to click in.
We are experiencing a few technical difficulties, so we can't bring you pictures right now, but we are endeavouring to get that sorted as soon as possible. We'll keep you updated on the times as they come in. Adam Young is currently the quickest, and he's the driver that we've got on the Zoom feed tonight. We'll be able to see what's going on in the real world from his perspective, as it looks like Dalton Geyer and Clayton Montgomery now moving into the top 3. Some good times being set here. We've had 12 drivers so far set times.
Yeah, and we still have some of our top runners left to make an attempt here. Right now, quick time is still Adam Young, a 31:005. So those times continuing to come in. So far, nobody breaking into the 30-second bracket.
Yeah, times are getting ever closer. Current top 5, Adam Young, Clayton Montgomery, Ryan Goodall, Dalton Geyer, and Colton Lane, all within half a tenth of each other, which is quite substantial. I mean, you know, we're racing at speedways, so the times, the gaps between them are going to be very narrow at the very least, but still, it's really good to see just how much competitiveness there is, especially in the top 3. There's 0.003 of a second covering Young, Montgomery, and Goodall.
And we do have Bradley Holly out on track right now as cameras come back in. And looks like, is that Jeff Evans that we're taking a look at right now?
It seems so. Jeff Evans in the hot pink truck, and they can use the apron in qualifying to get themselves a little bit of extra time. Joshua Tellez, the first driver into the 30-second bracket. That's 0.009 of a second ahead of Adam Young, actually 11 thousandths, as you can see on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. And Bradley Holly, as you said, Chris, out on track at the moment, just going through turns 3 and 4 now, coming up onto the tri-oval. What will he be able to do here to try and snatch provisional pole? Abner Acosta's gone to provisional pole, and Bradley Holly, well, his first time, 31.03. He's going to have to, well, it looks like he might have abandoned that qualifying run there, considering he went down to the apron. So unfortunately there for Bradley Holly, not the best qualifying performance we've seen from him, as Adam Zemke goes to provisional pole position. An excellent lap from the Monster Energy number 57.
Yeah, that has a great lap for Adam. He unseats Abner Acosta as your quick time so far. So we got a 39.65 right now is the time to beat, and just 23 seconds remaining in qualifying. So it's a good chance for Zemke to end up on pole for this one.
Number 62, Mark Kalin, going for another lap here. Kalin currently down in 15th on a 31.057. So let's see if he can improve on that. He needs a 10th to gain provisional pole, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to get another time in. That's the qualifying session over. It's a hard cut to end the session. We can go through our grid. So this is a bit of a surprise front row. Adam Zemke, his first front row start in quite some time. He starts alongside Abner Acosta. Joshua Tellez and Adam Young will start 3rd and 4th. Meanwhile, row 3 is Clayton Montgomery and Ryan Goodall, who'll be hoping for a good result after a great run ending in heartbreak at New Hampshire last week. Danny Cervantes and Jeff Evans on the 4th row. Meanwhile, the top 10 is rounded out by Paul Williams and an uncharacteristically low Bradley Holly.
And then just outside of the top 10 is Aaron Webb with a good 11th place run with Adam Shane to his outside. Dalton Geyer is lucky 13 over Colton Lane. Brendan Chatley and Mark Kalin make up row number 8, with Charles Sumner and Thomas Sink coming in behind them in row number 9. Then your top 20 is rounded out by Austin Hunter in 19th and Jim Westerfield completing your top 20 starters.
Truck 666, Daniel Ailey's going to start outside of 21st position alongside Nicholas Hunter. CM Pennington and Doyle Lawrence on the 12th row. It's Jose Medina and Danik Momi who line up 25th and 26th, and our field rounded out by Randy Caldwell, Stacey Hunter, Ryan Traver, and Hueo Guerra. Traver and Guerra not setting lap times in the qualifying session. So we've got a perfectly rounded field of 30 trucks ready to start here at Chicagoland Speedway. And this being a 1.5 miler, it's only going to be a single formation lap behind the pace car. So not much time for the drivers to get things started. We shall go through our cameras now, see who we've got on the Zoom feed. That right there is Adam Young, and that's quite the nice rig he's got there. Triples along with what seems to be a direct drive wheel, racing that round rim. Nice to see. Bradley Holly is also on cams, as he has been for every round of the season, wearing his lucky shirt as per usual. Another guy making an appearance on the Zoom feed has been Mark Kalin, getting a podium both at Eldora and New Hampshire. He'll be hoping for more of the same here at Chicagoland, though he will be starting a bit further back in the field. And finally, Aaron Webb, running an uncharacteristic F1-style wheel rim. It certainly didn't do him many favors at Eldora with the amount of opposite lock required there, but at Chicagoland, it should be just fine. Well, they're all pulling away now on the formation lap, and this is going to be crucial here for Zemke. He's managed to run the fastest time in qualifying, but he has got quite a few fast drivers around him. Abner Acosta, of course, starting on his outside, and they have got the likes of Goodall, Cervantes, Evans, Holly, Colton Lane, Mark Kalin starting back in the field. This is going to be a frenetic start.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a topsy-turvy start as far as the drivers towards the front of the field. A few names we don't get to see up towards the front after qualifying too often. So I'm really interested to see how these opening laps shake out, especially when you have somebody like Bradley Holly starting so deep, as well as Thomas Sink and a couple other front runners that are definitely a little deeper in the field. So excited to see how the start goes on this one.
Well, we'll be coming up to the start momentarily as the pace car pulls into the pits, and Zemke now has control of the field. When does he decide to go? The green flag flies, and he's waited till the green flag. We are away. Zemke immediately going down to the apron to try and shorten the run to turn one. Acosta didn't get the best start, though. Joshua Tellez is going to go under him, coming into turn one and slotting on to the outside of Adam Zemke at the front of the field. They run 2x2 for the most part. Slight contact between Cervantes and Young racing for 5th place, but they've managed to sort themselves out as the first lap is almost complete here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, did not expect Acosta to get as bad of a start as he did, but looks like Tellez actually going to lead the lap at the line, so he'll get the bonus points for that as Acosta follows in their wake, waiting for one of them to make a mistake. It's still Zemke and Tellez side by side. Now Zemke falls back, so he'll now be the meat in the sandwich between Tellez and Acosta.
And Abner, he had a chance to try and vault himself towards the outside. Little kiss of the apron, though, from Tellez. He got a bit crossed up there, and that has given the advantage to Zemke and Acosta. The top three have broken away from the rest of the field, as you can see, but it's quite the race for 4th on back. Danny Cervantes currently occupying 4th place, and Evans and Montgomery trying to round him up, but it's still side by side between Tellez and Acosta coming into the 3rd turn down that odd curved back stretch here at Chicagoland Speedway. Acosta showed slight signs of running a bit further up the track, but seems that he's comfortable down there on the inside, and using that apron as you're allowed to do here, certainly giving them the advantage down the front stretch.
Yeah, that cutting the tri-oval there can definitely shorten up your lap a little bit, give you a little bit of extra time, and also you get the momentum from driving down off the bank onto the flat, and it carries a lot of speed there. But so far, Adam Zemke able to capitalize on that, setting the fastest lap so far, as Acosta getting ready to have his hands full with Tellez here in just a moment.
Yes, Abner's managed to slot in ahead of Joshua for the time being, but you see Tellez taking a bit of a higher entry into turn one. He's trying to make it a straighter exit so he can carry some momentum down the back stretch. You can see, though, that the draft is a bit slow here at Chicagoland. Not much space for the drivers to really get a good run on arrival. The top three have done exactly what they needed to do, as this is the battle for 4th on back. You see Cervantes followed by Young, Evans and Bradley Holly, who's now up into 7th place. Aaron Webb just gaining a position on Mark Kalin, a bit further behind these drivers. And Webb on the inside, but Kalin on the high line getting a bit of a better exit here in truck number 62. Will Webb be able to get the momentum on the inside of the circuit? As we've mentioned, no progressive banking here at Chicagoland, so if you're on the outside, it's all about driving if you want to get an advantage.
You know, Reese, it could just be me, but I just have that feeling in the pit of my stomach that we're looking at a race that could definitely have an upset finish right now. And I know we're still early in this one, but Adam Zemke is just doing a flawless job here in the opening laps, running up front, setting a quick time. You also have Joshua Tellez, Adam Young, Danny Cervantes, a lot of really hungry drivers that are really looking for a good run that are up there in the mix today. Obviously, you have the usual suspects in Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta up there as well. But I just have this feeling that we could be looking at a new winner in victory lane here today.
There's every chance that's going to happen. Holly jerks to the inside. Adam Young has clobbered the wall, and he will have to stay high with not much momentum as the field goes by. There's the number 48 of Thomas Sink going up yet another position. Thomas Sink is the biggest position gainer in the field right now. He's up 7 from where he started. An excellent run there from Thomas. But he'll be focusing largely on those drivers up ahead of him, because they are still running side by side, and it's actually quite a bit of pace gained by the drivers 4th on back. Seems that Tellez is now falling under an attack from the 25 of Danny Cervantes. The field is starting to close back up here.
And you mentioned Thomas Sink, Reese. In addition to losing his father, Thomas has also been battling a bit of an illness the last week or so, and that definitely could throw off your game when you're in a short run like qualifying. But it seems like once he's got his head down and gotten into race mode, he has found that extra gear, and he is moving up through the field, breaking into the top 10 now, and still one to keep an eye on despite racing with a heavy heart and probably not feeling 100% anyway today. So keeping our eyes on Thomas Sink in that bright orange Whataback truck.
He's got some support there from behind with Mark Kalin, a position behind Aaron Webb, and Sink going to the lower line versus Paul Williams II in the start and park machine. We focus on Colton Lane, who is pressuring Mark Kalin now for 12th position, running almost bumper to bumper through turns 3 and 4. Very close racing now between all of this field. In terms of the top 5, Bradley Holly moving up now to 5th place. But Denny Cervantes has latched on to the back of the top 3, and he's really starting to make himself known in that fight up the front. Zemke, though, he still holds a couple of car lengths over Abner Acosta, and that can be crucial if this race stays green.
I tell you what, though, I would not want to have to be racing with a guy that has Terry Labonte looking over his shoulder. That's quite a good bit of counsel to have on your side.
That it is. Well, Mark Kalin, the picture of calmness, he's quite enjoying himself there, trying to battle his way up in the upper midfield there in 12th position. Oh, and there's quite the aggressive entry from Danny Cervantes going to the high line. Might be starting to think about preserving his tyres. He certainly put in some great times to get onto the back of the top 3, and we talked about how tyres might be an issue here at Chicagoland. Well, now the drivers are really going to have to start getting into tyre preservation mode, because those tyres are past their best now in terms of pace.
That's right. Those of us that are from the Midwestern United States, in addition to probably being under quite a bit of snow right now, we know how brutal these winters can be, and on an asphalt surface like this, it will definitely age the track and make it a lot rougher on tires. And as I say that, you have Abner Acosta making an aggressive move on Adam Zemke, gets underneath him. Oh, and Zemke and Tellez make contact. Oh, and that's going to be a problem for Zemke. He's hemorrhaging positions right now. Tough break for our pole sitter in that Monster Energy machine.
Yeah, very tough break, but well held and well recovered as well. That could certainly have turned into a spin that would have developed into a caution, but Zemke exhibiting great car control. And now he's fallen back into 10th place, and he'll be carrying a good bit of damage to that truck, affecting his straight line speed. That is a shame, though, for Adam, showing great pace in qualifying, and it seems he's starting to drop time. That damage might be a bit larger than we anticipated. We'll go to a replay just to double check what went on there between Tellez and Zemke. And there was Abner Acosta making the lead, but Tellez, he just went up the circuit coming through the tri-oval. And Zemke's spoiler now, a little wonky. Big damage to the right rear quarter.
Yeah, and this is a track where aerodynamic damage is going to be like tying an anchor to the back of your truck. This is a very aerodynamic dependent track, and unfortunately Adam Zemke, after having a very fast truck, finds himself in 15th and dropping right now with a heavy damage to his machine.
The race has ebbed and flowed in Abner Acosta's favour. He now leads by 1.5 seconds, and look at this racing for second. We've still got Tellez and Cervantes fighting for second and third, but Bradley Holly has caught right back up to them. That little bit of chaos caused by Adam Zemke and Joshua Tellez's contact has brought the rest of the field right in touch with the podium positions. And here's Bradley Holly in the draft of Joshua Tellez, trying his best to make a move. He drafts past Danny Cervantes and will fall up into third place as things stand. Next target second, and it looks like Holly might have been preserving his tyres for this run because he's got a great run here on Joshua Tellez. Going to be stuck on the outside in turns 1 and 2, but he's certainly got what it takes to make the move, and he is sweeping around the outside of Joshua Tellez there. Excellent throttle application, excellent mid-corner speed. Bradley Holly up into P2, and now he's going to start chasing down Abner, his championship rival from last season.
That's right, the proud Texas flag on the back of the 184 machine as he gets around Tellez in the 88 to take over the runner-up spot. And Holly is a tremendous tire saver, and wouldn't you know it, when the chips are down and it's time to start going, Holly's the one that has the freshest rubber of them all, it seems, as he not only gets out front, but maybe making some progress on our leader.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the times. Abner Acosta, 32.196 the last lap as we check out Thomas Sink going to make a move on Danny Cervantes, who has dropped back quite a few positions. He's back into 8th now after challenging for the podium earlier on. I think he's burned through his tyres, but those drivers that backed off a bit in the opening stages, they now have the advantage here as we're almost a quarter of the way through this race.
Yeah, these laps are clicking off pretty good here now as Acosta actually able to extend his lead over Holly, now just north of 2-second advantage. And looks like, I'm not sure what happened with Danny Cervantes. He's fallen quite a ways down. He was running 3rd there for a while. Now finds himself towards the back half of the top 10.
Going back to double check, it just seems that he got into a bad run of pace, and once Holly got by him, he was swallowed up by the rest of the field. Cervantes, though, managing to defend from Thomas Sink. Mark Kalin, of course, they're providing support in truck number 52 to Thomas. But there's potential here for Cervantes to gain a few positions back. It's Paul Williams and Ryan Goodall battling side by side up ahead of him, and Goodall is one of those drivers who will be hoping for a good result here. He started from the back of the field along with Danny Cervantes last round at New Hampshire, and they vaulted their way up the order. Unfortunately, a late incident causing a caution took Ryan Goodall out of the running, so he's still running pretty well here in 7th place, as position down from where he started, but he's starting to gain stuff back as we see Jeff Evans trying to make his way past Joshua Tellez now for that 3rd place.
It seems like there's a portion of every race so far this season where Jeff Evans has been in a position to threaten the top 3. Not always able to capitalize to get the finish, but he's definitely up there a good chunk of the season.
Keeping it to the inside, he'll be burning through the tyres a little bit more, but it does give him a slight advantage. It is quite the race for 3rd on back now. Tellez is putting on the mother of all defensive drives. He's been able to keep all of these guys behind him. Holly and Acosta, the class of the field at the moment, but Acosta even more so. He's continuing to extend his lead, as you see on the timing screen. It's going between 2.4 and 2.5 seconds at the moment, and you see Tellez going for the higher line there. It does open an opportunity for Jeff Evans to get by, but having said that, Tellez will keep his tyres going a little more. Now the question, as we're definitely past a quarter of the way through now, Chris, is when do these drivers decide to pit? It's looking like green flag pit stops might be the order of the day, considering how clean it has been so far.
Yeah, much different than what we saw last week in New Hampshire. These drivers have kept it green and clean for the majority of this race so far. And you got to think that pit stop strategy is going to be playing in their minds here as we get deeper into this run. You got to time out the run right to where you get the advantage of the undercut, but don't leave yourself in a position to be vulnerable as we get to the end of the race if it does remain green for the remainder. So there's a lot at play here. These guys have to play the pit stop right, because you get that timing wrong and all of a sudden you're a sitting duck in the closing stages.
I would imagine that Abner Acosta and Bradley Hotley will be going long. They've done well to preserve their tyres and keep up the pace, but drivers further down in the field, maybe from 10th place back, they'll be looking to pit a little bit earlier, maybe at the halfway mark. We'll have to wait and see. But Tellez now has a different rival to think about. Paul Williams right behind him, as that's some side-by-side running. The number 7 of Paul Williams catching up to the 88 of Joshua Tellez down the back stretch. And it seems that Jeff Evans, running that tight line for the majority of the time, has unfortunately fallen off the wagon a little bit in this battle for 3rd place. He's going to have to sit and watch here as Williams tries to make his way past Tellez, but Joshua is doing quite well, making his truck the widest in Chicago at the moment.
You know, I was wondering if maybe Tellez might have suffered some aerodynamic damage in that incident with Adam Zemke earlier. And it does seem like he may have lost a little pace, but he sure has done a tremendous job making that truck as wide as possible.
Yeah, I'm noticing he's not going to the immediate inside of most of the time, but down to the apron then goes Paul Williams, and he gains a little extra advantage there with the shorter line, and that is going to be Paul Williams up into 3rd place. Very good move there. He executed that perfectly. Let's see if Tellez will try and make his way back past him or sit behind in the draft, save his tyres a little longer, see if he can get an advantage towards the end. Ryan Goodall and Adam Shane running side by side for 6th and 7th place. By they go, and Goodall getting a much better exit out of turn 4. He sticks in the draft of Jeff Evans and extends that gap then, as drivers giving each other a good amount of space here. It's a very wide track here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, that is very true. A very wide track. It is very fast as well, but so far everyone able to give each other enough room. And we've stayed green so far, and with 31 laps in, we're beginning to inch past the quarter mark and now heading right towards halfway.
Yes, at 42.5 laps completed, that's going to be the halfway mark of the race. And it really has been a story of third on back in terms of battles for this race. Everyone in quite the group here. Paul Williams, he started to gain a little on the drivers behind. Tellez not quite able to keep up with him. So now Jeff Evans and Ryan Goodall might try to work together here to get by him and make a run for that podium position. Down to the apron they go. Goodall to the inside, Evans on the outside. But Joshua Tellez, once again, he's running middle of the track. I haven't seen him go down all the way to the white line since the start of the race.
We think running a little higher like that may help preserve the tires a little bit longer, and it's keeping the momentum up, which is a big deal in these trucks. And you keep that momentum up, you keep the revs up in the engine, and you're able to pull them down the straightaway a little bit. And that so far worked out great for Tellez. He's been able to keep the competition behind him for the most part, as Ryan there in the 14 makes a move to the inside.
We'll see if he can get it done then, as we have our first pitter of the night. That looks to be Ryan Traver, who's brought it in. He's got a bit of damage, actually, to his truck. So there might have been an incident out on track that we've missed. Traver, he was running towards the rear of the field, and actually looks to me like he's been carrying that damage for quite some time. It looks like might have been contact with Adam Young. So, our first stop of the night. He'll probably be getting a few repairs done there as well. Bit of aerodynamic damage to his truck as this battle continues for what is now 4th place. Ryan Goodall getting the run he needs then on Joshua Tellez. And down to the apron in the tri-oval they go. Jeff Evans might grab Joshua Tellez here in turn 1. But Tellez once again running middle of the road. He's able to pick up the throttle a little earlier and use tyres that are a little bit cooler, as we see Traver exiting the pit lane down there on driver's left. And this battling is starting to bring Adam Shane and Thomas Sink right into the fold of this battle. Sink as well is running that middle line, preserving his tyres while keeping up great momentum. He looks like he could be lining up a move on Adam Shane sooner rather than later.
That is one thing about this track, Reese. When you have a battle like that, the people behind you are going to get closer to you when you're not just driving away on your own and you have that side-by-side battle slowing you down. It's going to pull your competition in, and that's exactly what Thomas Sink was hoping to see as he continues his march back up towards the front, because this is going to pull him within reach of a top 5 position, excuse me.
It seems that Ryan Traver has gotten a black flag. Might be for speeding on entry, might be for re-entering the track too early. We're not quite sure, but either way, that's going to not do his race any favors. It seems that Joao Guerra did not take the start, and Ryan Traver is now back in the lane, and he's been stopped for upwards of 40 seconds. He's definitely going to be taking some service there, potentially, or serving the big penalty that iRacing gives you for blending back onto the racetrack too early. Through the tri-oval, then it's side by side between Paul Williams and Ryan Goodall. Goodall has managed to get a great turn of pace since making his way past Joshua Tellez and now challenging for that 3rd place, but the outside is where you want to be if you want momentum coming onto the back stretch. Williams is proving that. Does Goodall have enough in his tyres to vault past him down low? Seems that he might just, and going all the way down to the apron will shorten the run to the line and give him the advantage he needs.
Yeah, Ryan now breaking into the top 3 as he still works around Williams. And Williams not giving up in that number 7 truck. A really good race. And look at Williams running right up against the wall there. I think that's the highest we've seen anybody try to run in a corner. And he's going to... I thought he might go for a crossover, but he's actually going to get a little bit of momentum back and gets the outside of Goodall for that 3rd spot.
Goodness me. Yeah, almost bumping the rear of Goodall as the number 59 of Brendan Chatley comes in for his first stop of the night. We're seeing drivers now start to get to the very end of their tyre life as we're almost halfway through this race. And Joshua Tellez still falling back slightly now in these later stages. Got Thomas Sink and Jeff Evans right behind him here, all battling for 5th place. Sink, though it seems, has cleared Evans and will be focusing on his fellow Chevrolet of Joshua Tellez up front. There is Goodall and Williams up at the front of the pack as well. Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta aren't getting any airtime at all. They're just so far ahead of everyone else. Abner Acosta's lead is extended out to almost 3 seconds now over Bradley Holly, who himself is 3.5 seconds ahead of Ryan Goodall at the line. It's been a great performance there from both Holly and Acosta, but the racing here down in the field, there goes Thomas Sink up the inside of Joshua Tellez. He does lose a bit of momentum on the inside, so Tellez is going to try and fall to the inside, but Sink blocks him, locking the run down the back stretch. It looks like Sink might consolidate that maneuver then and put himself firmly up into 5th place, now 4th, as it seems that's Paul Williams going down into the pits for his green flag stop. Got a couple more drivers coming onto the lane as well. It seems Aaron Webb and Jim Westerfield.
You know, looking at the times here, Reese, we mentioned how you got to play strategy right when it comes to making your pit stop. Well, right now, our front runners are running 1.5 seconds slower than what they ran during their fastest laps as these tires get older. So you think about that much of an advantage. These drivers that are going to be coming out, as you see Thomas Sink, Mark Kalin, and Tellez. Oh, Kalin tried. Oh, no, Kalin's going to lose it.
Oh, no. Oh, that is the worst thing to have happen. You try going for the pit lane and you lose it on entry. He is going to lose a chunk of time, and he'll be hoping for a caution to try and get himself back up to the rest of the field now.
Looks like Bradley Holly's also came to pit road, Reese.
Yes, seems that way. He's been in the pits now for 14 seconds, and his pit stop is complete as Abner Acosta comes in to get his stop done. Clayton Montgomery moves up into the lead as we see Goodall, Evans, Shane, and Sumner all in the lane as well. Who is going to win the battle off pit road? And it's a mix of potential strategies here as Holly exits the lane. If you pit a lap earlier than your rival, you can gain an advantage, getting an extra lap on those fresher tyres at the start of the stint. But if you pit later, the tyres will still have more to the end. So we'll have to wait and see how this battle between Acosta and Holly ends up panning out. Acosta has come out now behind Kalin, Ailey, Montgomery as they come into the pits. Looks like Mark Kalin has elected to stay out a few more laps to try and negate any of that disadvantage he got from his botched pit entry, but it looks like Abner Acosta has come out ahead of Holly. The gap, though, has decreased. They are now within a second of each other.
Yeah, that's going to be a significant move for Acosta. Not only is he ahead of Holly after the pit stop, he also was able to hold off an extra lap. So that's 1 lap fresher the tires on the 5 truck versus the 184.
Well, everyone's filtered through. Looks like Ryan Goodall lost out massively in the pit lane scramble. He's now down back to 7th place. Brendan Chatley now occupies 3rd. Really good stop, well executed from him. Paul Williams in 4th, Thomas Sink rounding out the top 5.
So the front, very similar to what we were looking at before the pit stop, but look at Brendan Chatley, ever the contrarian. He always likes to run a strategy that runs counter to everybody else. He says it's his best bet to try to get up front and be in a position to win is by running opposite what everyone else does. He's tried that today. He was one of our first drivers to take a pit stop, and so far has been able to maintain in 3rd spot.
Indeed, his tyres are 8 laps old now. Abner Acosta's 3 laps old. Bradley Holly's 4 laps old. So we'll have to wait and see if Brendan Chatley can keep his momentum up. But Abner Acosta now, it's business as usual. He's using those fresh tyres and the draft of trucks ahead of him to try and gain some time on Bradley Holly. The gap has widened now to 1.2 seconds between our 2 leaders.
Yeah, Acosta continues to drive away, and this is what we talked about in the pre-race show a little bit, Reese. Is at one point, just a few races ago, Abner and Holly were tied for the championship, and Abner's given up, I think, close to 30 points to Bradley here in the last few rounds. And if he wants to be a threat for the championship this season and go back-to-back, he's going to have to step up his game. And so far, that's what he's done today, as he's kept Holly pretty much in check for the duration of the event, and is continuing to drive away from him here as we reach the closing stages of the race.
He's already making tracks on the pack battling for 24th position, with Dalton Geyer and Doyle Lawrence making their way for him. There is Acosta with the number 9 of Doyle Lawrence just behind. Now Abner's right in the midst of a pack of lapped cars, and it's both a blessing and a curse. You can get a good draft, as that's the number 28 of Ryan Traver getting up into the outside wall once again. Even more damage to that number 28. Big shame there for Ryan. It's been a rough night for him. But for Abner Acosta, trying to pick his way through this pack of lapped cars, he can get a draft off them, but they are running a little slower, and there's every chance that there could be an incident that he is caught up in.
Well, not to mention, but these trucks that are approaching being a lap down, they're still out there racing for points, and they want to finish as high as they can. And if they have a battle going on and the leader's coming up, they are not obliged to move out of the way. They can continue their battle, and then your leader who comes up on the battle has to find a way around them. When they're single file, like they have been the last few cars that Abner's caught, It's expected that they'll move out of the way, but they're under no obligation to do that if they're in the midst of a battle. So if Acosta catches them at the wrong time, it could not only just hold him up, but allow Holly to catch up and even get past him if the battle in front of him happens the wrong way.
Yeah, blue flags are non-existent in oval racing, and that's arguably the way it should be. When
we do have a blue flag with an orange stripe, which tells them that they should move out of the way. But it's just a suggestion from the flag man. And I have a few friends that wave the flags out in the real world that are probably cringing right now at me making that comment.
Yes, more advisory than anything else, but still, effectively blue flags don't work at all like they do in road racing, for example. So this is quite the fight going on here through the tri-oval. That's Brendan Chatley in third, and with Paul Williams, Thomas Sink, and Ryan Goodall right on the back of him. He's under an immense threat here for that third place. Remember, his tyres are older than everyone else's, so they've gone past the cliff already. These guys still have a little bit left in them as Sink now will switch to the inside and try to make this move. He keeps up great momentum there on the bottom, and that is a fantastic move there from Thomas Sink to make his way up into third place.
Now, there's been a lot of controversy about the numbers on some of the NASCAR vehicles here as they transition this season. For the Cup Series, they have them pushed forward towards the front tire. I like how Brendan Chatley said, forget pushing the numbers up. We're just going to make the numbers as wide as possible. So there is absolutely no doubt that you're looking at the number 59 truck.
Absolutely. Very recognizable there. Why not just make it go across the entire door? But Chatley, unfortunately, his tyres are now past their best. He's fallen behind all of these guys now into 6th overall. But Thomas Sink has put on a massive run here, hasn't he? He's up 15 places from where he started, now in the top 3. And if he can get a podium here tonight, that would certainly be a profitable night for Thomas Sink and a great way to pay tribute to his late father. Randy Caldwell just up ahead of them is going to make way for them through the tri-oval section. Thomas Sink is still going to have to battle here with Ryan Goodall, who is, I think, one of the dark horses of this season. He's shown fantastic pace in multiple rounds, but luck has not quite fallen his way.
That's a very true point there about Ryan in the 14. I feel like he was one of those drivers that could have been a threat to win. I believe it was a couple weeks back at Eldora before some luck reached up and got him. But he's been in a position to capitalize a few times this season. Hasn't been able to quite close the deal, but he's in a position where if luck goes his way, he could bring a big haul of points home if he's able to close the deal here one of these weeks soon.
So with 26 laps to go, Abner Acosta continuing to extend his gap in the lead over Bradley Holly, up to 1.7 seconds now. And it's been a consummate drive here from Abner. He left it quite early on to make the move on Adam Zemke and get into the lead. From that point on, he's just gone into hit the marks mode. Speaking of Adam Zemke, he has had a very rough night since that contact with Joshua Tellez. It looks like he has more damage on the truck now, and he's battling with Dalton Gaia for 23rd position. Looks like he is going to try and make a move here in the tri-oval as we see Bradley Holly second place coming up behind him. And this is what you were talking about earlier, Chris. If drivers are battling, they have no obligation at all to let the leaders by. So Holly might have a little disadvantage here over Abner as he continues to chase him.
Yeah, you can see this is definitely costing him some time. Zemke does go single file, moves out of the way, so Holly able to get by, but how much time did that cost him in the long run?
Well, the gap has pulled out now to nearly 2 seconds, 1.9 at the line. Holly, though, is getting a good draft from Dalton Gaia down the front stretch. Gaia running middle of the road, so it's going to be difficult here for Holly to try and make the move he needs. We're switching down to the inside. Gaia going very high. Holly getting some good momentum through the mid-corner. They're going to run side by side through the tri-oval ever so briefly before Holly cuts down to the apron and gets the move done. Now he can resume the chasing of Abner Acosta. Does have one more car in between he and the race leader. That's Danik Momi, who's currently in 22nd place.
Yeah, and that lead stretched out to now over 2 seconds as Holly struggled to negotiate the lap trucks. So he's given up some room to Abner here with closing in on 21 laps to go. So not a ton of time left if Holly wants to try to run him down, but not to try to speak anything into existence here. There is always the chance of a caution that can erase that 2-second lead and completely reset this race.
Quite right too. And there goes Danik Momi letting Bradley Holly by, but a slight lift is going to give the advantage to Dalton Gaia, and he's going to sweep around the outside to take 22nd place. That's something you've got to think about as a lap car. You can make it easier for lapping trucks, but at the same time you put yourself in jeopardy of losing a place, and that's exactly what's happened to Danik Momi there. As we focus back on Thomas Sink and Ryan Goodall, they got Paul Williams starting to make inroads on them. And looking at these lap times,
other than the battle to put trucks a lap down, Tom Sink and Ryan Goodall here been putting on a great battle for that third position. And Thomas Sink, that 15 position drive up through the field to get into a podium spot is absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, probably the star of the show tonight is Thomas Sink in more ways than one. Got to give props to Ryan Goodall, not racing him too hard, just keeping in his mirrors, keeping within the gap. If Sink makes a slight error, Goodall will be right there to take advantage. Thomas Sink actually the fastest car on track on the last lap, setting a 32.331. So he's still got great pace in that number 48 as we are now under 20 laps to go. This race is coming up to a very quick finish, and looks like a single green flag pit stop has been the order of the day for these drivers.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast these races can click off and they just keep going. Just the exact opposite of what we had in New Hampshire a week ago.
Yeah, it's amazing what different types of circuits can do to the quality of racing. We've been looking at this battle between Adam Shane and Joshua Tellez for 15th place. Tellez still carrying damage from that earlier incident with Adam Zemke. And it seems to me Adam Shane has the advantage there, going around the outside of turns 1 and 2. Now up into 15th, and they got to negotiate Randy Caldwell here. Caldwell currently running in 26th. Tellez will probably be happy that Adam Shane was the first to come up on him. As long as he can stay within a few car lengths, then Tellez will be getting the draft and he'll be able to stick there in the midfield. But it's an unfortunate fall down the field for our drivers who started further up. Zemke and Tellez both facing big issues as we check out the number 60 of Colton Lane. This is quite the battle he's having. He's got Austin Hunter and Charles Sumner right behind him now. These guys battling for 9th. Tell you what, Austin Hunter, oh, bit of front-end contact. He ends up going onto the apron. Is that going to be a safe re-entry to the track? It looks like only just, and he manages to hold on to it. Goodness me, that was almost disaster.
Yeah, that was a safe re-entry in the sense that he didn't hit anybody else as he got onto the track, but boy, that was that could have been a huge disaster for the 312.
Well, he's going to fall behind the number 35 of Jim Westerfield if he can't hold on to the momentum around the outside. Looks like he is getting a slight advantage across the front stretch and staying in the middle of the road, working the tires a little less, keeping that speed up. and he will protect that position from Westerfield. But a shame there for Austin Hunter. That is a top 10, I think, almost out of the question now, as we've got 13 laps to go. Now Colton Lane only has Charles Sumner to worry about in 9th place, just going by there. And you certainly can't miss Charles Sumner's truck with the orange juice sponsorship on the machine, and that number 98 working well, as that is truck coming into the pits. That's Randy Caldwell, who's coming in for his second stop of the night, and seems that he's just putting some fresh rubber there at the end, not able to fight for any high positions.
That's right. You know, I gotta say, it's a real shame that NASCAR has kind of left this track. We're seeing really good racing here today, and I feel like it's what we had in the real world for Chicagoland Speedway also. And it's kind of a bummer that this track's just kind of sitting rotting away right now. Hopefully some major league racing does come back to it here in the future. But we're closing in on 10 laps to go, caution free so far, and just action through the field. Great racing, 2, sometimes 3 wide, and this is the kind of racing that this truck series is kind of known for.
It is indeed. Chicagoland certainly famous as an IndyCar venue as well. Looking at the racing that's been put on here, it's Aaron Webb and Clayton Montgomery switching places here. Very tight battle between those two. Certainly enjoy watching racing here at this circuit. Seems that Aaron Webb, he's worked his front tires a little too hard in that battle with Clayton Montgomery, so he's going to have to back off slightly, try and have another run at 13th position. Lucky 13 indeed. Jeff Evans, meanwhile, he's battling Paul Williams for 5th, and he's got to negotiate CM Pennington, a lapped truck up ahead of him. But round the outside, Evans goes. So now he can resume his chase there of the number 7. Paul Williams, certainly another good gainer in the field, up 4 from where he started. He's been very strong here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, that is very true. We're looking at Jeff Evans there in the 41. Having a pretty solid day there, running in 6th position. And Brendan Chatley behind him in 7th. You know, Brendan made the bold strategy move to pit early, and he was up in the top 3 for a moment. He's faded a bit, but still coming home in the top 10 there. That's going to be definitely a net gain for Brendan. So looks like the strategy risk, barring disaster here in the next 8 laps or so, looks like that's going to be a pretty good payoff there for Chatley in the 59.
Yeah, up 8 places. He drove well in the opening round of racing to move up into the top 10, and then vaulting up into a fight for the podium positions when he pitted early. It's still going to be quite the run here for Brendan. He doesn't seem to be facing much of a threat from Danny Cervantes behind, who is just about a second behind him as things stand. But this battle is continuing between Paul Williams and Jeff Evans. Evans doing well to catch back up to Williams. We'll see what these drivers can do. A slightly lower line for Mr. Evans. Still working those tires pretty hard, but it translates into a very fast line around the racetrack. Let's see what Williams can do to defend this. Fighting for a top 5.
Yeah, you can see Williams enters in a little bit higher than Evans. That's going to allow for a better drive off the corner. You see Evans will now fall in line behind him. Try to get a bit of a slipstream down the backstretch there as I head off into turn 3. Williams keeps it up in that second groove. Evans runs about half a groove below him. And Williams gets a pretty good exit. He's going to dive down to the apron. Evans is going to follow him. But Evans, you can see, closes right up to him as they head off towards turn number 1. Now Evans is going to look to the inside through 1 and 2. But once again, you got to watch that drive off that you get running in the high line. And Williams able to pull him again down the backstretch.
This is very tight. If you're Jeff Evans, what do? You can't exactly go higher than Williams is, because he's certainly owning that top half of the racetrack. And we've only got 4 laps to go, so it's certainly crunch time for these drivers if they want to gain those positions. Once again, we see Evans go, but Williams up on the top. He gets a monumental run. They do have some lapped traffic, though, coming up. Danik Momi in truck number 12 and Adam Zemke in truck number 57. These guys battling for 24th, 23rd position with Doyle Lawrence right in front of them. So this could change this battle for that top 5 with only 3 laps to go now for our leader, Abner Acosta. And Abner has nothing to worry about, I think, out in the lead. He's more than 3 seconds ahead of Bradley Holly, and just in this bit of traffic, Mark Kalin unfortunately falling down to P20, just up ahead of Acosta on the track at the moment. But Abner, I think, will be happy to just sit behind here and manage the gap to Bradley Holly, because it's been a truly fantastic performance here from the number 5. Abner Acosta, it seems, is back and going to the inside now of Kalin. He won't have any traffic ahead of him up until Daniel Ailey, who is way ahead of him at the moment. So there we go. It is going to be white flag now for our leader. What more can you say about Abner Acosta's drive? It was quite simple. It seemed pretty quiet, but it all came down to nailing that pit stop and pushing his tires to the end. They're only using 2 of their 4 allowed sets tonight, and Abner Acosta, with his road racing background, certainly showing that he had what it took to take the win here at Chicagoland Speedway. The Thomas Jean Sink Memorial will go to Abner Acosta, and that is going to be a great result for him, leading most of the laps here today. A great way to narrow his gap to Bradley Holly up ahead. As more drivers finish, it looks like Paul Williams is going to win that battle for 5th. It's very close between Austin Hunter and Charles Sumner meanwhile, but 9th and 10th will be decided. It is Hunter in 9th and Sumner in 10th. Meanwhile, Colton Lane just misses out on snatching 11th place from Clayton Montgomery.
Well, I gotta say, Abner in that 5 machine did not turn a wheel wrong the entire race. It seemed like just a flawless performance.
Flawless indeed, and he'll be hoping that the victory donuts are just as flawless as Abner Acosta prepares to light up the rear tires. We're going to go to a short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back very soon with our final race results and interviews with our top 3.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Well, a fantastic night of racing here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Thomas Jean Sink Memorial Round 5 of 2022 Season 1 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. It ended up going to Abner Acosta, 2.5 seconds ahead of championship leader Bradley Holly, and Thomas Sink honouring his father very well by putting it on the podium in truck number 48. Ryan Goodall put on a great drive, battling Sink to the end. He'll go in 4th, and Paul Williams winning that battle for the top 5 with Jeff Evans. Brendan Chatley, Danny Cervantes, Austin Hunter and Charles Sumner will round out the top 10.
Pretty solid run for Clayton Montgomery in the 45 to come home 11th over Colton Lane. Jim Westerfield in 13th, and Aaron Webb and Adam Shane completing the top 15. Jose Medina, Nicholas Hunter in 16th and 17th. Joshua Telez, after a promising run early, fades to 18th at the end. Then Daniel Alley and Mark Kalin complete the top 20.
Finishing 21st, the first car a lap down was Stacey Hunter. Dalton Geyer will come home 22nd. Doyle Lawrence in 23rd. Unfortunate for our pole sitter Adam Zemke, unfortunately involved in a few taps and bangs over the course of the race. He'll have to settle for 24th place. Danik Momi gains 1 position to finish in 25th. Adam Young, another unfortunate runner here tonight. He started 4th, but 26th is where he will finish. And then we got CM Pennington, Randy Caldwell, and Ryan Traver, our last finishers there. Hueo Guerra was present in practice, but he did not qualify or race. Well, now we go to our driver interviews, and we will have our top 3 in here. The first, of course, being our winner, Abner Acosta. Congratulations, Abner, finally back on the top step of the podium after a difficult last couple of rounds.
Hello, guys. Good evening. Yeah, it's been 2 DNFs in the past 2 races, so yeah, it's been rough. So definitely glad it was a win, caution-free race. You know, we got to play with the tire wear and all that. So yeah, very, very happy with today's race.
Let's talk a little bit more about the tyre wear, because Chicagoland a bit hard on tyres, but the nature of the racing today, going caution-free, meant we only took 1 pit stop. So what did you have to do to keep those tyres at their best?
I think it really affects how you do, because potentially you can take the first 10, 15 laps full throttle if you want to. You know, you start seeing the people that did take it too fast in the first 10 to 15 laps. Me personally, I just start saving from lap 1 at least a little bit. And that's what I did, just took it easy. I stayed in 2nd, 3rd for like 15, 20 laps, and people just started falling off and just took it from there.
Do you think that your championship fight is back on track now with this win at Chicagoland Speedway, or are you just taking it race by race?
It's taking it race by race. It's going to be really, really tough. I would essentially need Brad to have like 2 bad races, or me to completely dominate the next couple of races. And Brad is a really strong driver. You know, I can't, if I make a small mistake, I know he's going to be there to take it. So it's going to be really rough. But yeah, just taking it race by race for now.
Hey, what's up, Nicholas?
Well, before we let you go, Abner, anyone that you'd like to thank who got it done for you tonight at Private Label Team Hype?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Private Label Team Hype, Ethica, Neonism, and Tommy Milner for spotting for me tonight, and James for helping too as well. And also thank PRL for hosting the league and GSRC for broadcasting. Thank you.
Excellent result indeed for truck number 5 tonight. Abner Acosta there. And to talk to Chris Phoebe is going to be our second place finisher, Bradley Holly. An excellent run from him.
Well, Brad, you started a little deeper than you were used to in this one. You were able to drive up to second, but it looked like Abner was just on a whole nother level here today.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely had tire advantage on me pretty much the entire race. I had to burn up my right front more than I wanted to get up through the field and try to get in a position to be there if there was a mistake.
Now, with him struggling the last couple weeks and some of your other competition having some trouble, you're still in a pretty good position points-wise here with just a few weeks remaining. How are you feeling about taking home another one of those championship trophies?
Oh, pretty good. I got some points in the bag in case something were to happen. Hopefully, nothing doesn't. But I just have to try to stay as consistent as possible throughout the season and try to hold off for the championship.
Now we're heading over to Indianapolis Raceway Park next week. Fun little short track and quite a bit different than what we had here today. Can you tell us about what you're expecting next week?
Hopefully a green flag all the way through. It's a short track, so we'll just have to see, and I'll have to get some laps in it to see how the truck's going to feel.
All right. Anybody you'd like to thank to help make your run tonight possible, Brad?
I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting us week in and week out. You always put on a great show. Everybody in the PRL, we try to make everything as fun as possible, and try to have basically a family type of deal when we're all racing together, and all the Waterback guys.
All right, that's our runner-up finisher tonight, Bradley Holly. Back to you, Reese.
Indeed. Excellent result there for Bradley. Also an excellent result for the number 48 of Thomas Sink. Thomas, it was quite a special night here tonight with that beautiful gesture from the field leading up to the race. You certainly did your late father proud by charging through the field to finish third tonight.
Yeah, I didn't see them doing that, and I wish I would have had a better qualifying position, but I was crying so much I couldn't see very well.
Oh, you were certainly able to see your way past all of those trucks, making your way up through the field. How did you approach the strategy tonight? Just a case of looking after the tires?
Yeah, Chicagoland tends to be a little bit stronger track for me. I don't know if it's just because it's a little bit more rounder or what the case is, but went into the race just kind of knowing that I needed to back up the corners a little bit, and with it being kind of tight up off the corner, I wanted to be kind of a little rough with the rear tires, but soft on the front. And then once that kind of formed in about 20 laps or so, I was able to really kind of drive it up off the corner a little bit more than everyone else.
Well, with a third place, you certainly keep yourself in the fight for those top positions in the championship. And we go to Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis next week. How do you usually go there? What's your approach going to be?
Pretty much same as usual. Championship would be really nice to kind of run for, but with Abner and Brad being so well, I think I'm just going to have to either hope that they have bad luck or just have some type of miracle knock off a win or just finish better than them a couple times. Should just go in again, saving tires, and hopefully just get a top 10, top 5.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of people that you would like to thank for your podium tonight, Thomas. The floor is yours.
Oh man, everyone. Charles. When he started saying Dad's name, I just couldn't handle it anymore. Brad and Nick and everyone else, Mark, everyone at Waterback that kept it a secret. You guys for putting everything on. Yeah. Just thank you guys for putting on a good show. And PRL for always sticking up for me, and even when I'm a dick and I'm doing things I shouldn't. Everyone, just my girlfriend for being there for me and her family, and Mom at home. I wish I would say hi to Dad, but can't anymore. So just thank you guys for everything.
And thank you very much for joining us, Thomas Sink. Congratulations once again on your podium in truck number 48. Well, final interview of the night. Chris, we're going to have a quick chat here with Austin Hunter, who helped organize proceedings tonight.
Yeah, Austin, I know you helped organize the tribute for Tom's dad there, and obviously it was very emotional for Tom and really all of us that have been a part of this crew here for the last few years. Tell us what went into getting everything organized there.
I just kind of had a small part of it. Tom's such a great guy. He's actually one of the few guys that I've met in the league in person. With us living so far apart, I made a trip to Chicago and we got to meet up, so it was really special. Once we found out, we were trying to figure out what we could do to help him out, and naming the race after him was just something that came to mind. And my brother Nick had the idea to wait till we got to his home track, and I'm shocked that we were able to pull it off and get it together with so many people knowing about it, but kept it secret. Honestly, heartwarming that it happened.
That is for sure, and we all really appreciated being a part of that gesture. So wanted to thank you and the whole PRL crew for allowing us the opportunity to share in that moment with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for all your part in it. It was such a great night. I'm glad that we were able to put on such a great race for Thomas's dad, and glad everything went so well.
All right. Appreciate you, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that brings to an end proceedings for tonight here, Chris. A great night of racing to honour Thomas Sink's late father. And I'm certainly looking forward to the rest of the season from here. We do go to Indianapolis Raceway Park next week, and hopefully the great racing continues.
That's right. It's one of my favorites, and one of the few tracks I can say that I've commentated at, both in the real world and the virtual world. So it's as close to a homecoming as I feel like I have here on the iRacing service, and it's also one of my favorite tracks. So I'm looking forward to some good short track racing next week.
As am I. Before we go, we'd like to give a thanks to our sponsors. First up, the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups, 24/7 coaching and more. Head to majorsgarage.com and use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. ASR, they design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab, it helps to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks must also go to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp page for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Chris, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is, of course, Lucas Oil, February the 9th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And our next broadcast is tomorrow, the PRL Formula 3 and Porsche Cup at 8:25 Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.